And that's how we welcome Masabane Cecilia Rangwanasha, fresh from her success at the BBC Cardiff Singer of the World 2021. Good evening, Cecilia. How are you doing today?
Good evening, Marcy, and everyone watching. I'm very well. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. And thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and sit tonight with us and have a conversation. Cecilia, everyone in the world knows you as the girl from BBC Cardiff Singer of the World. We've watched you do a beautiful duet from Don Carlo recently. And what I'd like to know before we get to that part where there's glamour, where there's makeup, where there's wigs and everything, would like to know, who is Cecilia outside of the stage?
Yes, Marcy. Cecilia is a girl from the Limpopo province. I live in Limpopo, and I am from a very religious family. So I grew up singing at church. And after that, I was singing at school as well, because our conductors at church were teaching us solfa notation.
Yes.
The choral music that we were singing, and as well doing saske. So, they were teaching us the music together with our teachers there. So that's where I come from before I got to the opera part.
And when you're not on stage, what do you do when you're not singing and being fabulous?
When I'm not singing, I am cooking.
Yes.
Or I just learned how to cycle.
Okay.
So I go on a bike, explore the town, and I also joined the tennis club. So I do play tennis.
You even have proof that you play that tennis.
Yes.
Now, you said right now you started singing at church. And at church we sing hymns, we sing gospel.
Yes.
Why opera when you could have been a gospel singer?
Yeah, you are right. I didn't actually choose opera. I wanted to do law when I finished matric grade 12, and it's my mom who encouraged me. She was like, why don't you do music? She didn't actually mean opera, but because I was singing at school, I was singing saske competitions, and maybe she saw that I enjoyed singing. So she said, why don't you do music than law that you want to do? And that's actually what I wanted to do, but I didn't just say I want to do music, because from where I come from, I haven't seen people doing opera and becoming, opera singers.
Exactly.
And, because what we are focused on, it's about living a stable life. So I thought with law, it's a safer option, because that meant I could have a normal life. So when she said, why don't you do music? I was so happy, because that support, it's unbelievable.
So once she said that, what was the moment that said to you, okay, not just music, but opera? When did you say opera?
Actually, the opera thing was by chance. Because I went to TUT, Tshwane University of Technology in Pretoria, to enroll for music. So that time they had music as jazz.
Okay.
So I remember on a phone call and asked, do you know music? And I said yes, because I thought, can you sing? Because they said they wanted grade 3 music theory. By that time, I did not know that.
Exactly.
Yes, I have it. And then, but I thought that was singing. And they said, okay, come to an audition, not an audition. So we start by writing the test. If you passed, then you go for a singing audition. So I went there, and when they gave me I remember Mpo Mutaung was preparing me, because she did opera, but she was like, I didn't know they now ask you guys to do this. But anyway, this is what, but I mean, it was not possible to get everything in just few days before my audition.
Yeah.
And there, and none of the questions was what is a treble clef, what is a bass clef, minima, minim quaver, none of that. Grade 3, that's when you start, you know. So I did not know anything on that paper, and I wasn't. There were so many people who enrolled for music, but they didn't know that that was not the kind of singing. So obviously, I didn't go on. I didn't pass the test. And while I was sitting outside with other people, Professor Uvani came and said, why are you here? I said, I wanted to sing. And he was like, what do you sing? So I was singing a very Marcelina's aria from Fidelio, because
Yes.
we in. And then he was like, oh, no, this is the wrong department. So go to the opera department. So run there. So that's how I got to the music. I didn't actually know what was opera. I just wanted to do music. So that's how I got to TUT, the opera school, and enrolled there.
Lovely. Thank you. And, I received an email about a week ago, which said, how does my daughter become an opera singer? And I would like you just to take us through from TUT until where you are seated right now. What has been the journey?
It's not an easy journey, but it is doable. So I think the support of the family, it's very, very important, because just what people might say, just what other friends who are not doing this, because they were all like, what music, how are you going to support yourself, how are you, what are you going to be, do you think you're going to be on TV, because when we say music, that's the thing we are thinking about. So you need the support from your family that will be with you, whatever, I mean, if you make it or not. So what I can say is that it's important that as a parent, you can hear if your daughter or son has voice or little bit talent, because it's a very competitive industry. So not that we are just saying, oh, I want to, but everything, it's auditions, you have to go through to auditions, you have to go through to competitions, all of that thing. So I think the family, plus again having the talent and working very hard, because from where I come from, I haven't learned German, Italian, or French before.
Exactly.
So get to the opera school, especially if you go overseas, language is very important. So at an early stage, if you know that this child wants to do this, if it's possible, it will be great if they can start to, maybe for now they can use YouTube, because YouTube is very good, internet is very good. Just listen to dialogues, languages, put a YouTube movie that is in another language than what you do. So as parents, I think they need to support them very, very well, that they can do it. But it is doable, because I am sitting here coming from Libuahomu, with no music background other than choral music.
And this is why you are sitting here and we're talking to you, because you are a testimony that it is possible. It can be done. You can be from Kofimvama, where I come from, and sit in Switzerland where you are sitting. Exactly what you are telling us. That's what your story is. And ever since I've met you, which was a few years ago, you've always entered competitions, Cecilia. Like, I remember you were busy with the competition when I met you. I don't think I remember you not in a competition. Now, and you've come on top in most of these competitions. You've come on top. And before I ask you what is the secret, you know. What advice, you might even give it out now because you're going to be telling people, what advice would you give to young people, starting with Sasuke, you know, and going to adults, young adults that want to take part in your Belvedere's, your Operadias, your BBC Cardiff Singer of the World, all those competitions. What advice do you have? And what would you say has worked for you?
Yes, I think the advice will be having a good teacher. I was very lucky that I had, in South Africa, I had two great teachers, Kivit Badi and Prof. Virginia Davis, because to do it, you need the right repertoire of songs that you will sing for these competitions. And, you know, sometimes, because when you are very young, no repertoire, especially if you will a more dramatic voice or a fuller voice, no repertoire will be ready for you at a very early age. Then you need people who really know about this music, who can say, you know, you can sing this, and they also prepare you because preparation is very important, you know, even though, you know, I would say by that time, my languages were not very, very good for me to have the right pronunciation and all of that, you know, having that kind of coaches as well, it's very good. So
Lovely.
I think to prepare, you just need very good teachers and coaches.
Thank you very much for that. So I'm sure you've got many. I'm sure you've got a lot. I'm going to ask you, what have been your favorite moments in your career as an opera singer?
Yes, you are right. There are many. But I will just say my recent one, which was at the Opera House, Royal Opera House. We had the summer showcase where I was singing Elisabetta, which is a role I will sing now here in Switzerland in Bern. So I think that was an amazing moment for me on stage, to be able to sing, you know, with the orchestra, with Semak. So yeah, I think my best moment will be the summer showcase 2021 Young Artist Show at the Royal Opera House.
Lovely. And you just mentioned that you'll be doing that role in Bern, Switzerland.
Yes.
So where to, from the chair you're sitting on now, going forward, what are you doing?
So from the chair I'm sitting right now, I'm going to sing, my first role will be Elisabetta in the Don Carlos, and after I will sing the Freya, Rheingold, and I will finish the season with from Idomeneo, I will sing Elettra.
So it's safe to say you're a busy lady. And yeah, I'm so glad that you had time to speak to us, because this is hectic. And while we're looking at highlights, you know, there's lots of challenges that musicians face in this career. And I'd like to know, what have been your challenges with your career?
Challenges. I think maybe challenges was the languages, because they are very, very, very important, you know, and I mean, there were challenges because of I didn't do them while I was still young. But yes, it's possible to do them now, because, for example, I moved from London to here, and it's a new environment with German speaking, sweet German speaking. So it is something that because to be in a place and to feel very welcomed, you need to do what they do.
The language.
to speak the language. So it's not really a challenge, but it's something that I am working on, to get my gene rolling.
Lovely. And I'm glad, because, we need to know this for young people who actually want to be a Masabane. I mean, there's lots of young girls that are sitting there right now watching you and going, it is possible. And I mean, you went through the same road, you went the same journey, you know the challenges, you know the things that look like stumbling blocks in front of them. But when they watch this tonight, they'll be like, look at Cecilia sitting in Bern, Switzerland. Yes.
Yes, no, I must say it is really, really possible. I think having people who can guide you, and I will say entering competitions, that was for me. I entered competitions because I loved them. So I enjoy the vibe around, which is, yes, we go to win the competitions, but again, we learn a lot. Because I remember I was still at TUT, and there was Belvedere coming in South Africa. So I went to watch, from Pretoria to Cape Town to watch for the whole week, and just to see what people are doing who are above me. How do they react on stage? If anything goes wrong, how do they respond? What kind of repertoire do they sing? So it was very, very good information for me to just be there, not singing, but be there observing and learning.
What I've just taken from what you're saying now, as I was talking to a few ladies before you, and most of them said, if you want to learn about this, just come and visit. Just come and see what happens. And that's exactly what you're saying. You took transport from Pretoria to Cape Town, not here to sing, not here to do anything, just to sit and observe, so that you can get yourself ready for when the time comes, when the time is right. You know exactly what to look out for. And I think it worked for you, because I'm not like, I've watched you take those trophies. And I was watching the duet. Like this past week. And as I was watching, as you were singing, I realized that when I'm no longer this young, many years from now, when I'm sitting in Kofimvaba with my cows and sheep and my farmer, my grandkids will find your name in the opera book of history. That's exactly the kind of impact your journey is going to have. And when I'm sitting at home and not like just looking at my cows and sheep, my grandkids will tell me about you. And I'll be like, guess what? I spoke to Cecilia. In 2021. Don't come for me. Anyways, now before we let you go, and thank you for taking time out. I know you are literally so busy, and like you said, you've got so much on your plate at the moment. Before I let you go, if you had to go back to Limpopo today, if you had to leave Bern, go back to Limpopo in the dusty streets and meet the girl that went to the Saskia workshop for the first time, what would you tell her right now? Something that you did not know then when you went to the Saskia workshop, but you know now that you are sitting in Switzerland in Bern. What advice would you tell 14-year-old Masabane Cecilia Rangwanasha?
Yes, I think I will just say to them, relax. Because in this career, I mean, I'm still at the beginning of my career. We need to relax and wait, because things don't happen like we think, from here, it's there. So we need to, I would say you need to relax, stay in your lane, do what, for example, you'll be very young by that time, but do what your teachers will be telling you to do. Keep singing, keep being happy, because it's also very important, because we stay far from home and we are alone. So you need to also find things outside singing that makes you happy. So for a 14-year-old, I will just say, relax, keep singing, and be sure if this is what you want.
Thank you very much. Thank you for taking time out. And we're truly proud as not just Limpopo, not just your hometown, not just South Africa, but the African continent, because you're an ambassador of this continent when you sit in Switzerland and you represent all of us. When you must remember that when you sit there and you go and sing, you represent me also and my voice. Thank you very much for coming through, and thank you everyone for watching tonight. Tomorrow we have Sis Paulina Malefane, known for Carmen Ekayelicha, and she's also a lecturer at the UCT Opera School. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us tonight, and have yourselves a beautiful evening. Thank you, Cecilia.